And I felt like, oh, I'm not good enough. Suddenly I'm not good enough because I'm observing these things and I'm feeling lack inside myself instead of like excitement about what is being birthed in the universe and excitement to keep creating. Hey beautiful people, my name is Brittany and today I'm going to be sharing about, oh gosh, what would I even call it? You know what, I'll tell you what I called it when I wrote it down in my notes. I deserve credit for that. Attachment to ideas, having to be the best, special, unhealthy competition. Yeah, if that all relates in your mind, awesome. If it doesn't, we're just gonna get right into it. I'm going to share these thoughts that have been on my mind and feel really important to me to explore, to share my experience with, and to hope that it resonates with you in some way that teaches you more about yourself and what you're looking for, whether that be with like feeling similarly or the contrast of feeling really differently. Both are totally welcomed. I have been getting this download for a while, and it's interesting that I started that way, that sentence this way, because that's kind of what this feels like it's all about for me, which is feeling inspired to share things and literally feeling like that inspiration is coming through me. That feels like my reality. And one of the reasons I feel that way is because I get so much, I've got an itchy nose, so much feedback from the universe that it is so not just my thing. So often when I post a video or do an Instagram post or something like that, what I share, somebody will say like, oh my gosh, this totally resonates, or I was just talking to a friend about that, or I just posted a video about that, or I really feel you, I've been feeling this too. And I think that there are universal forces at work all the time, inspired energies that are being created because of our desires to create them, and they're coming through us. I have experienced how amazing it feels to create when I feel in this inspired space, and I have felt the contrast of how bummer I have felt when I've felt like in that inspired space, thought about these things I want to create, maybe a video I want to do on a topic, and then I don't do it, and then somebody else does it, and I feel like attachment to like, hey, that was my thing, which is super interesting to me. And I'm gonna talk about that a little bit. More so than that, I'm gonna talk about how it has felt in the past for me when I did create the thing. And I felt attached to I felt attached to creating it and being like somehow what I saw as like the creator of it. Like that was my idea and I birthed it into being, and some element of like that I was taught to be the first one and be the best, and that I had to be special. That might be a good way. I had to be special to be able to be worthwhile and lovable on some deep level. And I was bred with this competition in school and in sports and in my family, and needing to be unique, needing to be. And even though I feel like that's something I've been healing for a while, it's interesting how it'll still come in. It's also beautiful, I feel, for myself, how much I've healed that. I've healed around that. Because it's not something I need to necessarily go away, but it is something I want to understand for myself and integrate and feel a lot of peace and like love and understanding around those parts that feel these needs. I'm gonna share an example, I guess, so I hope that this will be helpful. When I started making YouTube videos, which was in 2012? That sounds about right. Which is 6 years ago now. The reason I started making YouTube videos was because there weren't any of the ones I wanted to see on YouTube around lightweight backpacking. I really wanted to travel out of a small bag, and I just couldn't find any, and I definitely couldn't find any other people who were doing it in the way I wanted to. So I made a video, but not even necessarily for YouTube. I didn't really understand YouTube that well. I just made it more because I felt the inspiration to, and I shared it with my sister, and I put it on YouTube, and I started getting these comments back, and like, in a sense, I think they started to like build this idea and feed elements of my ego that really felt validated by being seen for being like a minimalist, lightweight backpacker. And I felt really special to when I watched my channel grow, and I felt like, you know, you're doing great, Brittany. There's what you're doing is unique. I'd wanted to do a YouTube channel, or I wanted to create a business around the health practices I was experiencing in my life and sharing, and that was mostly around plant-based living and fitness, but I felt like there were so many channels on that. I didn't want to be like one of many, which is crazy because we're all so not one of many. We are united in that way, but we're all so unique, and the way we express things is really important to do in our own authentic way. Yeah, so when I started my channel and felt it grow and felt the momentum there, I felt like on top of the world, and it was all exciting and new, and I was so proud of myself, and it felt really cool to be one of the only ones I felt at the time doing that in the way that helped me feel special. And then that changed. Minimalism just boomed, especially in the plant-based community, and I started to see tons of videos on stuff, and I had some really interesting experiences with people I felt like surpassing me in their success, which, like, what does that even mean? But I felt that at times, and I felt like, oh, I'm not good enough. Suddenly I'm not good enough because I'm observing these things and I'm feeling lack inside myself instead of like excitement about what is being birthed in the universe and excitement to keep creating whatever I felt inspired to create, and to recognize that those were my moments of creation and to release them to the world with the excitement I felt about them. I also felt a similar thing with acrobatics. When I first started, I felt really humble. Kind of similar, I think, to how I felt when I started my YouTube channel. No expectation, I just loved acrobatics. And I wanted to play all the time, and I did, and I had so much fun. And however long into my acrobatics practice, maybe like a year, I started to feel this like need to be the best, which is something that was really familiar to me through sports. I always felt like I had to be the best. And it wasn't like I wasn't a supportive and encouraging teammate. I really was. But underneath, I wanted to do better than my teammates. And I think there's healthy competition, and I also think there's like unhealthy competition, which I actually don't know realistically how much I'll get into that today. But what I'm talking about doesn't feel life-giving to me. It feels draining. So I would say it feels like an unhealthy thing that I cultivated and was taught. With acro, I watched as people, and specifically this one friend of mine who is such a lovely person. She and her partner, her acrobatics and life partner, are just lovely people and good friends, and they're also really good acrobats, and they also weren't all the time, or I felt like, you know, she looked up to me when she started acro, and I felt like, oh, like that feels so good. And I identified on some level with that, with being looked up to by her. And over time I started to realize, like, oh my gosh, like, well, she's getting really good, but that's okay, like I'm still better, or I'll get that skill and I'll feel like good about myself because I still have that, or like I can do that skill better than her, or like, sure, she has these skills that she does and that's fine, I'm okay with that, but like these, it's just all arbitrary, ridiculous stuff. I'm back in Austin. I trained with her recently and her partner, and I just felt like so much compersion and admiration and joy for them in their practice, and I felt such a lightness and humor around in a way, these elements of me that I felt like in the past they were gripping for a need to be better than them in some way. Instead, I felt excited by how much they put into their acro practice and how much they have to offer the world, and honored that I can learn from them. And I still have things that I can teach them and they teach me, and it's a great exchange. But there's not that like feeling that I'm not enough, or when it comes in, I know what it is and it's small and it feels like it's been a great teacher and it's healing as opposed to hindering my life. There's, what was I gonna say? There was one other thing about that I really wanted to mention, which was a big part of this is also recognizing that, and I talked about this a little bit maybe in my FOMO video a while ago, fear of missing out, is that in feeling like I'm not enough compared to other people, I'm missing out on what it means to be enough just being me. And I think we're always all enough. And I truly feel like I'm living in alignment when I'm tapping into the life I want to be living and the things I want to be doing. And in terms of acro, for example, I love acro. I also love having my own business. I also love having a relationship with Connor. I also love having relationships with many other beautiful humans. I love running retreats around the world. I love furthering my self-growth. I love being in nature. There's so many things I love that I want to put energy into every day. And it doesn't leave enough time to put the amount of energy into acro that, say, some other people do that I've watched like just blow my minds with their skills. And that's the same thing in all these areas where, like, I could always be doing more. We could always be doing more. There are things that we're all probably gonna feel like, yeah, I'd love to put more time into that, but there's just not enough time. There's things that I flat out stopped doing, like playing the violin, because I just recognize that I want to be potent in the few but many things that I have chosen to put my time and energy into. Is this feeling concise? I hope so. It feels really good to talk about. I feel so grateful for this space to share with all of you. This is the kind of sharing I've been feeling really drawn to be offering here on this channel. And I really hope it resonates with you. And also, if not, that's okay, because it feels so important to birth through me. And I think that's what's happening for me and for many of us, is that inspiration is being birthed through us. Again, this is just my feeling and my experience. We're creating it, it's coming up in the universe, however you want to describe that, or I just don't even have the exact words to describe such magic of the universal forces that are at work. But they're amazing, and there's so much happening energetically that we can't, all of us can't see. And man, it's such a beautiful thing to be co-creating together. And we really are. We're raising the consciousness, we're raising the possibilities in this universe together by being open to birthing things through us. And this video, I guess, is like another step in saying, fuck yeah, let's all do whatever the heck we want. And if that's the same thing as the person next to you, go for it. It's definitely not because it's yours and theirs is theirs. But if we're feeling like, you know, it's not worth doing that because somebody else has already done it, or because it'll be diminished if somebody else does it, it's just a load of crap. Whatever you want to share is great. If other people pick it up and share it in their own way, that is amazing. That means that they felt similar inspiration, or maybe even they felt inspiration coming through you, not like another source or the universe. And hey, isn't that amazing that you tapping into this creative impulse helped change the course of somebody else's life as well? And isn't that ultimately amazing for all of us? How much healthy competition and camaraderie can we find in that? Competition is not the word. Collaboration. I'll work on that one. Yeah, these are the feelings and the vibes that I want to share with you, and they're definitely not fully formed yet. They're in their processing phases, and that's one of the reasons I'm really excited to be sharing them here with you. I hope it feels really good to receive them. I'm sure there's more I wanted to say. There's better ways I could have put these things, and also this is how it came out, and I'm so glad that I sat down and turned on the camera to be able to connect with all of you about this, because these are the topics that feel truly important and valuable in my life, and that's what I want to be sharing here. Heck yeah. I would also love for you to share this video around if it resonates with you, to like it, to subscribe to my channel. I also have a website with a ton of goodies, events. I have a program that I recommend for anybody who's interested in getting to know more of their authentic selves and changing their life or continuing to evolve in their life in the direction of authenticity and living their dreams, because we all really deserve that. And I love it. I get off on doing that and sharing it with all of you. So that's that. I love you all so much, so much. Thank you for being here. This feels amazing for me, and I hope it feels amazing for you. I love you. Bye.